Morning folks, Sunday morning, out here having a play, bombing around the school. I've done the one in there already. Hope we're all well Sunday morning. Thank you for your comments and likes. One comment, Ben Winstanley I think. I've had a notification of it, but does he find it? No, so sorry Ben, I can't reply to you on that one, but I appreciate the little bit I did get of it at the start of it. So yeah, hope you're all well. Sunday morning as I said. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do today. I did get me skyhooks out yesterday. I went and cleaned the solar panels on the roof of my house yesterday afternoon. Achy shoulders now, but there we go. Anyway, welcome new subscribers as always. Yeah, I'll probably have to do some paperwork this morning. Keep on top of that job. Still waiting for parts as usual, but we crack on and do what we can do. So yeah, that's how it is at the moment. That was fun getting up there to clean those, but we got the majority of the moss and things that was growing around the edges. Anyway, down here we have a very oh, it was a sleepy Dave. Are you right there, Dave? Morning folks, Monday morning. There's one thing I don't like is wasting time on doing stuff that you don't earn anything from. More to the point, HMRC, VAT. Got it all this online technology, blah, 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 blah. It's fine when it works. When it doesn't, waste time. I'm annoyed. Never mind, moving on. We're gonna put a piece of glass in here. We've got the new bit of rubber there. Just need to trim the length. So we'll clean that glass and get that popped in. After using long arms to get your hand inside to tease it through, it's in. We can now get the filler strip put in to lock it all in place. But yeah, achy arm now. Well, the filler strip that the customer supplied wasn't long enough to go around the window, and there wasn't any in the other bag. But fortunately, I have some spare in stock. So now with the little special tool there, we can get that locked in the gap. Plenty of glass cleaner involved, keeping it moist and slippery. All fitted in. I would say the rubber that was supplied down there wasn't the best quality. Just seemed that it's a bit older and brittle. I don't know how long it's been hanging around for, but yeah, it's all in and fitted. We can move on to something else now. Back to making things again. We need to make some clamps up to go around said pipe. So I've made one here already, and that's about right, because time the silencer sits in that should be able to be about right to pull up. We got marked out. We will double check that that's the right positioning for the holes to go on the bracket on the front of the chassis. So here's what I do. I do a bit of measuring. We got the size of the tube, hole there, mark the centre. We know the distance where the holes are going to be there and there. We added a bit on the end, so we can work out that length, and that length. So how do we actually make it? Good question. I'll talk you through it. As you know, my brain's always on overtime. Still frustrated about this morning. Technology. So we go back to old school. So I got me a bit of metal, marked out that side and the centre that side. So we'll get the two bends put on there, which should be just about 90 degrees. Because if you look at that, that's close to 90s. So we'll get those bent and then we'll form the curve. I tell you, in this country at the moment, there's some clever tool makers. People do know their stuff. And back in the day, there was a tool maker and he made a right tool. Oh, this is Massey red, and I work for a living. I work hard, and I like to keep what I've earned. Anyway, back to making the curve. We have a socket. So said socket there will help form that, which when it's on there, well, it's going to be pretty close. So what we do, we have our pen mark, which we know is the centre. So we'll clamp that on there, and then we'll put it in the vise and use a bit of brute force. So we've got it set up in the vise here. What I did with the first one is I set it in like that. I use the vise just to squeeze it up to actually start forming the curve.
readjusting. You go one side and the other to just get enough to get it started. You might think it's crude, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Once we got something close to about right, obviously you've got one side going a bit more than the other. We've got started forming, so now we can set that in the vise, and then we have another big tool. We like tools. We can put that on there and then use some brute force. Bend that one around. I'll turn it over. Put it in the other way. Clamp it up. Obviously with the sides of the socket, you've got a pretty idea you're keeping it parallel. See, we're getting close there now. Didn't far off. Then we'll open the vise up and we'll give it a bit more persuasion, pushing it back that way. Also, you're pushing the ends in onto the socket. So we ain't far off there now. Take the clamp off. That's close. So we'll put it back in the vise again and give it a bit more of a squeeze to pull it to somewhere near flat. So go just past it a bit because it will spring back. There, a little bit more, won't hurt. One bracket made, other than drilling the holes. Well, I'm going to say so myself, that doesn't look too bad. Not exactly identical, but they're not far off. And that should fit, just about fit over there. So we turn the silencers on the outside again. That should clamp up nicely. And there it is, fitted in. And the exhaust is looking reasonably square that way. And hopefully it should be relatively square to the radiator that way. You see the line, the gap there. At least now we've got the bend in, with that somewhere it needs to be, to make up the bit to go for that. I've got a flexi bit coming because I might have to just alter the end of this. There's got a bit of a flexi joint in there, like I've done in the past, but obviously this is a bit different because we've got this huge great turbo to go from there to there. But pleased with that. Obviously get some paint on perhaps, and yeah, exhaust is looking like what it should be. After a bit of cussing and swearing and some of the red stuff, I made this a long time ago, well, probably last year. I didn't paint it because I knew it was going to need a little bit of fettling. So we've just found the aluminium spacer. We've got a couple of bolts in there, and as you can see, we've got, you know, clearance down here, clearance here, but it just needs a little bit taken off on that side. Not a lot. Other than that, I say we've got clearance over that side, so we can just fettle that back a little bit, take a bit out, offer it up again, and that should be okay. Then at least we can paint it and fit it. That's a better fit now. We've got the clearance there, we've got clearance here, and all the way down there. So I say it can't be perfect with everything, but seeing as this wasn't in existence, it's a bad job made up. Serve its purpose. Well, we've got that edge primed up and done the inside with some black gloss. Yeah, and use air salt in. A little bit easier for this bit. Now we have another problem we're trying to overcome. Obviously this engine, as I said before, has come out of a Massey 29 combine. So we've had a few difficulties and issues along the way, but we've overcome most of them now. So the next one's the Tacho drive. So I've been thinking and thinking. Parts for it you can't get. I can get the angle drive, they ain't cheap, but it's the drive that drives the angle drive that's the problem. So here's what I've come up with. Hopefully it's going to work. So I'd like to say, here's one I prepared earlier. So that's the angle drive, that's the front cover. So we have had this one off this morning because I needed to have it off to have a look to yeah, scratch my head about it. So let's just put it back off again. Move the weight. Now obviously you got a T-piece there, but inside there it's almost like a big nut with a slot in it, but that is what I can see of it, part of that shaft, and it's in there because if you turn that, it turns the whole thing, which what it's meant to turn that. So it's like, how can we recreate this? So we've done some measuring and more measuring, and we've come up with something. Right, so I got a bolt, and that fits in that hole in that shaft quite nicely. I got a suitable size nut, which I'm going to weld onto the end of that. Then cut a slot in it, which should achieve the desired effect. Then we just need to make the depth of this, or the depth of that, the same as that. Put a hole in it and some bolt fixings to accept that, and then hopefully we can get the desired thickness finish on there to match what that will be. That's the plan. It's going to take a bit of doing, but I'm sure we can overcome it. I say we'll put this in and some good thread lock and get it glued into the hole, because it's not any effort to turn this. It is quite a free turning thing, so there's no load on it. So all I still do is grip in the hole to turn that. Well, hopefully that looks something like what I need. So we'll check and see if it goes into the right distance from the housing, then we can start on doing something with this bit. Well, look at that. That's in at the perfect depth. It's about 4mm in from the face, which is the same as what's on the other one. So we can thread lock that in there. Hopefully that'll just grip enough to be able to turn that shaft. We can but hope. Well, looky here. I just had a message and I've been and picked it up. That's the drive bit for the 675. They managed to get the bit that you can't get from Massey. So we can start putting that one back together soon. And yeah, just had a phone call to say the tombstone's done for the 575. So we'll get that picked up tomorrow, hopefully. Tuesday morning, down here early. Bit of running around doing a minute. Need to get 2 new hoses up for this steering ram. It's been sat on the floor here for a week, not touched. I think the seals have had it. So it's been sat here, haven't touched it, but we have got oil here and on the floor. So I think we'll get that dropped into the boys in Wells and get them to strip it down, get the seal kit put in that while it's apart. I'll say 2 new hoses. We're going to get those made up this morning when we go and pick the tombstone up. So this truck was dropped off last night, 8-wheeler. We got one of the bars to do underneath, which is going to be last week, but slight mess up. So we'll get this picked up on the jacks, ready for Sid when he gets there. Hopefully I won't be too long down Bridgewater. So he's got back from a nice long journey, round trip. That's all been repaired and it's nice and firm now. Sorted that end out in there where the hole was worn. That's ready to be get back up there to go onto that. And we got 2 new hoses made up, ready for the steering ram once we've had the seals done. Oh, now we've got the dog collar thing sorted for that. We've got this one sat back on the dashboard. We on the steering column, we can start bolting it back together and start looking like something it should be without a wobbly, broken steering column. Rather than tightening the nuts up, we now have a fully functioning steering wheel that don't come off in your hand. So we can get this one gone out of the way. We've had some success, haven't we, Sid?
We have had success.
It's been gas axe to butcher it, to get bolt and stuff undone, but we are one end out. That's cut off, so we just got that end to deal with now, haven't we? But it's going okay. Once it's apart, it's easy to put back together. And then you can go and walk your dog then, can't you?
I can.
Last head of a bolt to come out. cut out, cut out, cut out, cut out.
Try and put
But
that
it's
back.
out. This easy job now, put it back together. What's that been, 2 hours? Thereabouts?
2 hours a day.
Yeah.
A couple hours last week.
Yeah, it's just to change this thing. It's in. Well done, Sydney. Been a challenge of a job,
That's what we like.
but it's
Think
done.
it's easy.
We'd all be doing it.
No, everybody else.
What'd you do? That's the remains of the bits we've taken apart. Right, folks, well, that's going to do for today because I'm pooped after all that brainstorming, trying to work out how to make bits, dealing with that truck out there. That was one of those jobs. But at least we got the tombstone back, so hopefully tomorrow we can get that, start to reassemble the 575 there in the back. Yeah, so thank you for your comments, likes, welcome new subscribers, always appreciated. So if you mind it, give us the old thumbs up, click the subscribe if you're new to it and you like what you see. As I said, try and do 3 a week here, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, of whatever happens. So I'm going to head home and get some beauty sleep tonight, hopefully. I was up at this morning at stupid o'clock doing paperwork again, but you got to do what you got to do. So in the meantime, take it steady, look out for yourselves, and we'll see you all next time.